it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. I'll be getting a lot of messages. Hey Rob, where you been? You still making videos? What's going on? And yes, we've been making tons of videos. We just having an issue on the editing end of the videos, and that's because we just been real busy in our personal life. You know, we got little Franny, my first granddaughter, around, and we've been doing a lot of stuff, getting the kids back to college, things like that. The biggest time consumer, though, is the truck you see behind me. Normally today I'd be out there slinging hot dogs and working. I bought this hot dog business about 8 years ago. It's a 52-year local business. That's right, 52 years. And it's been a great business for 52 years. However, this truck, we park it outside of a shopping center on a public road, and it's always been there. For 52 years, it's been parked on the same street outside the same shopping center. And over the years, the restaurants, and there's only a couple in the shopping center, make complaints about this food truck and others that park up there, saying they're taking away their business, when we're really not. Our customers drive up to us. We don't really get many customers at all from within the shopping center. Maybe, you know, 1 or 2 a day, less than 5% overall. And for me, it's probably closer to 2% of my customers come from within the shopping center, and 90% of my customers are senior citizens. They're retirees. They drive up to me. They enjoy an old school New York style dirty water dog, and they go on their way. We also do knishes, we do chili, and we do the best southern pulled pork that you will find north of the Mason-Dixon line. It's the most authentic pulled pork. When you go to a mom and pop down in north of South Carolina, it's just like what you're getting on this truck. It's phenomenal. Now, last month, the restaurants in the shopping center, and it's Ivorone, it's Wild Fig, and it's Bagel Boss. So it's an Italian eatery. It's an Italian supermarket eatery. You could buy hot food, you could buy cold food, and pizzeria. That's Ivorone. Then there's the Wild Fig, which is a Mediterranean restaurant that always seems to be empty. So I don't know how he says we're stealing his customers. I've never seen him have any customers. And then there's the bagel store, which I can't understand. Ivorone even made a complaint once saying that I was serving Italian food. And unless they consider ketchup on a hot dog Italian food, maybe that's what their pasta sauce is like, ketchup, because that's the closest to Italian food that I sell on this truck. Chili, pulled pork, knishes, and hot dogs, that definitely ain't Italian food. So we've been fighting with the town because they have an old rule on the books that was made for the sidewalk pushcart vendors that said that you had to be constantly moving. And back in 1985, that law was challenged and was ruled unconstitutional because you couldn't make somebody constantly, well, actually, the word stationary was vague in the rule. So the ruling back then from the town's own attorneys and jurisdiction said, the law the way it's written is constitutionally improper. However, you got to let somebody stay long enough to earn their livelihood. And that ruling 40 years ago in 1985 was the only other time that the food trucks up at that shopping center got their chops broken for being up there, and they never had to close one day. Never one day did they close. So fast forward another 40 years, and now the police come and they try to enforce town code. Now, they changed the town code in 1993 to say that you had to move 200 feet every 15 minutes. Again, intended for street cart peddlers, not for a full-service food truck. These are commercial kitchens inside these trucks. You can't move them in 15 minutes. You can't set them up in 15 minutes. It takes me a good hour to get set up and, you know, all the flames going, the hot water tanks on, you know, to get everything set up and warmed up and the food prepared and ready. It takes me about an hour. It also takes about an hour to shut everything down, put everything away, secure everything. You know, you got to cool it all off. You got to extinguish all your flames. You can't have auxiliary fuel using to move the truck. So that's an hour to set up, an hour to break down for me. And I just have a small hot dog truck that serves, you know, 4 different varieties of food. A full service food truck has got, you know, 10 or 12 different varieties of food. They got a lot more cooking equipment in the truck than I do. So it takes them even longer. So to move every 15 minutes, you could not operate. And that's our our problem that we're having with our local town is that they just don't want to understand that their rule, they sell us a permit and they license us and they permit the truck, they license us to, and they take our money to be able to, you know, have this food truck selling within their town, and then their own rules make it impossible. It's physically impossible for us to follow their rules. So that's our debate with them, is that how can we explain how we can follow your rule? We can't follow your rule. So is the rule fair? Is it proper? Should it be applied to food trucks, or just have that rule be applied to the sidewalk street vendors and pushcart vendors, ice cream trucks that are designed to roll and serve, for the choice of a better word. You know, they drive, they stop, they serve a couple kids, they drive, they stop, they serve a couple kids, because they don't have cooking equipment, they don't have a kitchen on board. So here we are. We're not working. We're fighting with the town, trying to debate this. The town, I spoke to my local councilman, completely unreasonable. My local councilman in District 3 here in the town of North Hempstead is Dennis Walsh. I called him up and I said, Dennis, please explain to me how I can comply with the town code. And he lost his mind. I said, I just want you to answer that one question. How can I comply with the town code? And he lost his mind and put his aide on the phone and then told his aide to hang up on me. That's my local representative. Great guy, right? Spoke to a couple other representatives who were much more willing to understand the problem. The problem is they don't seem like they care about a resolution. Too many of them, you know, are worried about what the other people might say, or their other council members in different areas of the town might say. The law just doesn't make sense for a full-service food truck. It only makes sense for a streetcar vendor. We can't operate under the law. It's impossible. It's like giving a building permit, saying, yes, you can do construction on your house and you get a building permit, but they say, but you're not allowed to use any nails or screws. Can't use any nails or screws, so how do you build? Right? You can't. So it's that ridiculous, it's that petty. So we're gonna get in the IROC, go for a ride, and we're gonna go up to the shopping center, and I'm gonna show you the Italian eatery that's complaining that I'm stealing their business. They probably do more business in an hour than I do in a full week of working. So here we are at the shopping center. Bagel Boss, Iveron, Giant Store. Goes from there all the way across, kitchen, pizzeria, grocery store, market, bakery, produce, Giant Store. And then all the way down that end, sort of like the middle, is the Wild Fig. Now, for reference, the food trucks, hopefully you can see Target way in the distance. The food trucks were on the outside of the shopping center by Target. Yeah, we're affecting his business. Right. So here we are, Iveron, right? They're telling all their customers that they never made any complaints. They never make any complaints to another small business. No, they don't make any complaints. They got like 3 locations. It's a huge business. And I have the proof that they made complaints, because I was able to foil one of them. I was able to figure out the time frame, and I was able to submit a Freedom of Information, and I'll put it up on the screen to show you. You notice in that complaint, they tried to remain anonymous, but then the investigator wrote where he went to talk to the people. So now you know where the complaint came from. So when you try to remain anonymous, you don't always remain anonymous. So there you have it, folks. I've been making videos, just not having the time to edit them because of all this mess going on and trying to fight, you know, your local small town government, which is the worst. And, you know, the older I get, the more issues I have with local government and just your representatives not representing you, the more I kind of understand Marvin Heemeyer. Have a good day, guys, and thanks for watching.